Oh. Oh. Oh, that was a little bit delayed. Sorry, I was checking sound. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the first ever multi-streamed Yap session. How are we this morning? Okay, it does seem like it's only just picking up on one of the boxes, so. I'll delete that for right now. That way I can make the chat box bigger. So today we are talking about something I find incredibly important to talk about. There we go. Because quite frankly, it is not talked about enough, and not a lot of people know about these things. And as somebody who has them, although mine are not classified yet as them, they are basically in the same realms of what they would deem autoimmune disorders or diseases. Mine that I have attack my nervous system. And that's not fun at all. But let me explain to you exactly, or to a degree, kind of in my own words, I'm not bringing up the actual summary of what an autoimmune disease or disorder is. And in a short, small summary, basically an autoimmune disorder slash disease attacks your body. It's attacking your body. One of the most common ones you guys know is lupus. There's also a few arthritis ones in there as well that are part of the list. I don't have those, but they are. But yes, one of the most common ones you guys know of is lupus. In my case, I have POTS, which attacks my nervous system all the time, and I'm on medicine for because of it. But POTS basically is just, bad blood circulation, fast heart rate when you stand up, stuff like that. I have Lyme's disease as well, which affects my joints. IBS isn't considered one, but I do also have IBS. I consider it one, and it should be considered one, considering it is an intestinal one. So IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, by the way. So Crohn's is considered one, but IBS isn't. So rude. So those are a few. Those are the ones that you guys probably know of. I actually got tested to see if I had arthritis, and that's how we found out that I had Lyme's disease instead. Fun. But I'm obviously very comfortable sharing this online. It needs to be talked about more. I'm not sharing, obviously, any of the medication I'm on, but I am talking about the disorders that I have. So more awareness is brought to it, especially because this month is autoimmune. Disease slash Disorder Awareness Month, and I find it extremely important to talk about this and bring more attention to it because it's not talked about, and quite frankly, even the stuff that's listed as them is outdated. They haven't updated it because they're still doing research. That's how new some of the disorders now are, where they haven't been quite added yet, but they could also be considered them. They just, the research sucks. So my experiences with them is never fun. As you guys know, if you follow me over on Twitter, you will know that I talk about my flare-ups all the time because unfortunately they get in the way of me being able to do this for you guys stream or leave the house when the flare-ups are super bad. Unfortunately, a lot of the time that is my IBS getting in the way, but it is my IBS combined with my POTS that get in the way of me being able to do much of anything when I have a massive flare-up. Sometimes it's even difficult to get out of bed. So if you are wondering exactly, I keep saying POTS because I don't know how to actually pronounce the freaking full bloody name of it, medical name of it. But essentially, what it does for me, guys, is it causes really fast heartbeat. Not for me. I actually have the exact opposite, which is interesting. But it can cause fast heartbeat, dizziness, fainting, nausea, the whole loveliness. I have dizzy spells, I call them, and nausea. Here, let me look up the symptoms here. I can read them all out to you. That's not the right one. I was like, don't diagnose me with something else. So, in retrospect, it is basically a condition that causes your heart rate to beat faster than normal when you transition from sitting or laying down to standing up. However, my heart rate only seems to act up if I'm doing any sort of activity. So exercise, essentially. I'm very careful getting up too quickly because I will end up getting a dizzy spell. But mine isn't heart rate based. Mine is actually the other part of it, or we're trying to get that other part diagnosed, but mine is actually my blood pressure dropping, which is another symptom of POTS, severely. Not, so for you guys, don't panic because it doesn't mean you actually have it. But yeah, mine does the exact opposite. So it basically attacks your nervous system. So my blood pressure is the part that's affected the most because POTS cannot at all help blood flow, anything like that. It's mainly blood flow. That's what affects me. So here's some of the symptoms here. I'm going to read them out to you again. Remember, this doesn't actually mean you have it. You actually have to go do tests to be diagnosed with it. So don't self-diagnose here, okay? Dizziness or lightheadedness, especially when standing up. Fainting or near fainting. I don't have that one. I tend to feel like I might, and then I like lay back down or whatever, and it fixes it. Forgetfulness and trouble focusing, aka brain fog. When I'm in really, really, really bad flare-ups, I do have really bad brain frog. I wish it was a brain frog. It's brain fog. Heart palpitations or racing heart rate. I actually don't have that. I have the exact opposite. My blood pressure is low, but my heart rate is normal. Exhaustion and fatigue. So you guys hear me all the time talk about how tired I am or exhausted all the damn time. That would be why. That would be why. Feeling nervous or anxious. I already have severe anxiety, so I don't include this symptom on here because I was diagnosed with severe anxiety. So, shakiness and excessive sweating. In other words, shakiness, blah, blah, blah. I consider that adrenaline dumps. So when I also talk about how I'm shaking for no reason, and we can't figure out why, take that into consideration. Shortness of breath. I don't have shortness of breath. Chest pain. Don't have that either. Good. Headaches. Not really. Feeling sick. Yep. So I usually feel pretty sick. Pretty bad nausea. Yeah, all the fun stuff. Bloating. Okay. I don't really get bloating from POTS. Actually, my bloating is mainly caused by my IBS. Pale face and purple discoloration of hands and feet. Yep. So we call it corpse blue in my family. It's a running joke. Actually, right now it's doing it, so this is perfect time to talk about it. My feet are discolored. They are purple and blue. Because again, remember, POTS is bad blood circulation. That's why a lot of POTS patients wear compression socks, compression pants, compression leggings, anything compression to help the blood flow. That's why there's medications that help it as well. So, my POTS flares up for no reason at all. Over here it says being in warm environments. Yep. Yes, I do. In fact, my POTS flares flare up in warm environments. I do better in cold environments, actually. Standing frequently. My POTS didn't actually ever flare up when I was standing in line, so I don't listen to that. Participating in exercise or strenuous exercise, aka a lot of exercise. Yep. When you're sick, such as a form of cold or infection. Yes. And of course, for the women out there, having your time of the month will actually affect POTS as well. So, how do you get diagnosed with POTS if I'm concerning you guys? A tilt table test is the main way. It's not fun, and I actually have to redo mine while my medicine is in my body because before my heart rate would skyrocket, and now we're wondering if I do it with my meds in my system, if it will be the different reaction to prove that I have the opposite, the other end of this, and not the heart rate version, but my blood pressure dropping. Your main one is tilt table test. That's the one that everybody does. There's blood and urine tests for it. There's a test that measures the nerves that control sweating, breathing test, biopsy, blah, blah, blah. Um, you know, lovely. So that is that one. Um, I can totally go into Lyme's. Obviously, you guys know Lyme's disease is from a tick. It's never fun. So when I was younger, I got ticks all the time. So this has probably been in my system for a lot longer than I was originally thinking. So basically mine messes with my joints all the time. So I'm always cracking my fingers because it affects my fingers the most. It also does affect my big toes, which is weird, but that's actually a common symptom of it. But yes. So there's that one. I don't know if I really need to go into Lyme's really. And then obviously IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, so intestinal stuff. Um, Mine is one or the other version, which is kind of crazy. So there's two versions of IBS. So there's the I'm constipated and can't go to the bathroom at all. And there's the more extreme version of I can't stop going to the bathroom. That's not fun. And that one is what leads to me, unfortunately, having to cancel a lot of streams or collabs that I want to be a part of because that means I'm in and out of the bathroom all day and I can't do anything. The other one I can handle just fine. Sure, the constipation one, like, I have, it hurts my stomach, blah, 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 stomach pains. Yeah, I can get over that. It's the one where I feel like I need to be by a bathroom and I can't leave. That's the issue for me. Other than that, it's fine. I mean, I probably have more that I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but those are the ones that I have that I talk about all the time that are not classified yet, but definitely should be considered classified because they make me, when I'm not Lyme's, Lyme's doesn't really do much other than my joints for me, but it does affect people differently. POTS and IBS definitely should be classified as one because it makes it impossible for me to do anything when I'm in the middle of a flare up with them. It does affect, it doesn't affect my daily life really, only if it's like a bad flare up day or days, sometimes weeks. It could sometimes be months. But what happens is if my POTS flares up, my IBS flares up because they're both nervous system stuff. If my IBS is flaring up, then my POTS flares up. Like they're connected. It's a domino effect. It's not fun, I have to say. Would 10 out of 10 not recommend. Unfortunately you can't control it. My big toe just cracked. But I thought it would be important to bring awareness to the disorders in general, not just mine, but autoimmune disorders in general, for you guys to maybe go and do some research and look into them and learn about them and figure out how to, I have to say it like this, uh, don't take it out of context, but deal with them, or how to figure out ways around it, because unfortunately when I'm sick all the time it does impact me and my partner. So I do have to say, and I absolutely love my partner, by the way, but to you guys, if you ever come across somebody with an autoimmune disorder, because they do have a lower, like, they have more of a high risk of getting sick, to question if you'll be able to handle them maybe being sick all the time and maybe not being able to see them all the time. Because if you answered, oh, I don't know if I can do that, then do not be with somebody
Welcome Seri
with an
underscore
autoimmune
bot.
disorder. Unfortunately, our autoimmune system is more at risk, and you won't even think it. Like, it's crazy. I will go out, have a great time with my partner, come back, next day I'm sick because somebody else decided to be selfish and go out while they were sick, or maybe they just didn't know. Maybe they didn't realize it was bad. You know, oh, I didn't realize that I was sick, or I thought it was just allergies. You know how it all starts. Um, you guys need to take into account that you could be impacting somebody else. Like the first sign of me being sick, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not going out. I'm staying in here. I won't do anything. But I'm also live in a household where I also have a grandmother and a father who also have weaker immune systems. And if they get
Incoming ad
sick,
break.
well, it's not good. So I can tell when it's like, oh, my allergies are acting up, or when I'm really sick, obviously, because I've been on and off sick my entire life, so I know the difference. But I will not, if I feel like I'm severely sick or have just a small amount of a fever, I will not leave my room because I don't want them impacted. But I want to open a discussion to all of you guys if you want to say anything about it. Maybe asking me questions on how it impacts my daily life or my life in general. You know, I know I talked about that, but if you do have any questions for me, I'll try to answer them to my best ability. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, and I don't have a doctor on screen with me, a doctor VTuber. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. I don't have them with me, so any doctor questions, I'm not going to be able to answer. But other questions, if you have any, feel free to ask. I am absolutely happy to talk about them. What do you have for me? Okay. Oh, I went off screen. I love when she just tilts her head like, huh? Night night. Oh, by the way, you guys, hopefully it works. Actually, let me test it. It doesn't work for YouTube, unfortunately. The other end of the spectrum. On the other side of my screen. But let's see if it works. Oh, dang it. Where is it? Well, that's unfortunate. Hold on. There we go. Let me see if it pops up now. I forgot I turned it off. Ow. Okay, it works. You can throw fish at my head if you want to. That was funny. Okay. So continuing on. What we do? Let me actually pull up on all caps. Let me scream it at the world. So let me read you some facts over here. This is about women with autoimmune disorders, by the way, guys. However, women are actually more affected with autoimmune disorders than men are at a 75% rates of autoimmune patients being female. Your common one is obviously lupus, and then it's rheumatoid arthritis, and another one
Check
that I
out the
can't
Pando
pronounce.
Pet Cafe to play with me.
But there is a massive list over here, guys. It is honestly crazy. It's broken down based on different parts. So, what I'm very, very upset about, in my opinion, is they have a digestive system thing listed. They have Crohn's, which is digestive tract. They have one that affects the small intestine. Yeah, cool. You know, it's like, well, that's IBS as well, right? I mean, IBS, um, POTS should be on this list, 100%. And then I have the nervous system stuff, which, in my opinion, is actually probably what POTS should be under, but POTS could also be listed under heart and vascular system. There's like a massive list. I cannot read all of them out because there's a lot, but there is one list. There's a list on this Wikipedia that is non-autoimmune because they're just not classified yet, and there's a huge list of diseases and disorders as well. And what's funny to me, I have to say, so they must be doing research because POTS is not on the non-autoimmune either. But you know, it is a huge list, guys. So I'm pulling up the 10 most common ones. Obviously I talked about that rheumatoid arthritis, which I was tested for and turned out I didn't have. Type 1 diabetes, obviously. Lupus. There's one that is thyroid, Graves' disease, celiac disease. Psoriasis is considered that. Crohn's disease. And another one that I cannot pronounce, but they wanted to test me for this as well. Because it affects the moisture producing glands, leading to dry mouth and dry eyes. And because I used to have dry mouth and dry eyes all the time, they wanted to test me for that too, but I never did it. I never had to because she was like, oh yeah, then it's not this. um, yeah. Again, any questions for me? Perhaps maybe, like I said before, about how it can impact my life. Or anything like that. Where the hell did that fish come from? All I saw was just a flying fish out of the corner of my eye. What was that? Anyway, no questions. Understandable. Oh, I'd be surprised if a lot of the questions you guys have are more what only a doctor can answer, and obviously I can't, and I'm only speaking on like my experiences with the ones that I have. Um, Everybody has different symptoms and are impacted differently by these. Okay. Alrighty. Alright, so ah I don't know what else to talk about. All I have to say is if you guys do feel like there might be something going on, to always get checked and tested. Because I don't think I was fully. I might be misremembering. I probably had it since I was young, but I pretty sure I finally or fully got diagnosed with POTS when I was in high school. But I don't actually remember. They'll put you on, I don't mind talking about this part because I'm not on them, but they will put you on salt tablets because your sodium levels are off. And oh my God, when I was put on those originally, I threw it up because it was horrible. Um, I'm not on them now, but oh my God. Okay, so you guys know I've also been talking about my infusions. That is also for POTS. Because unfortunately, another one for POTS is dehydration. Because your body needs a lot more fluid intake and salt intake than a normal person's body would. So it's impossible for me at times to get the amount of fluids in one day that I need in order for me to be completely hydrated. So I was doing infusions. I'm still doing them, obviously, but and I did have a port placement because my veins suck. But it's not easy to have to do, leave your house to get stuck with a needle weekly or twice a week, weekly. My cardiologist is really sweet, and actually, in my opinion, and they told me when I was there recently that infusions should be the last resort, like an emergency thing. But you should not rely heavily on getting infusions. So our new thing is upping medicine and upping salt intake and upping hydration intake and blah 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 so that we can see how that goes. And then,
Did you know you can pet me? Check out the pet cafe.
you know, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully well. Like, it's crazy. So I have to drink 3 liters of fluid a day. Yeah, a day. Not in a week, a day. I don't remember how much salt I'm supposed to have, but salt's literally in everything, so. But it is crazy to think about. So, with my infusions, 1 bag was 1 liter. So I had that 1 liter for the day. But then I would really, really struggle to get the rest in because usually my infusions were in the afternoons. So I was lucky I even got infusion in, and that be enough for the day at least. It's crazy to think about how much I need for my system to be regularly hydrated based on POTS. You know? I actually drank a whole thing of coconut water yesterday. That was 1 liter. That was pretty good. But in retrospect, I would need to drink 3 of those to get the amount of intake I actually need. So, you know, the struggles, man. Yeah. Are you sure you guys don't have any questions? I really don't mind answering any. Oh my goodness, my allergies are flaring up. I love that for me. Hey, Dilly. Alright, my puppy's in the room. Any of you guys drinking coffee? What flavor? Peace. All three of them rushing upstairs. Okay. I still no? Okay. Can hear my mom talking in the background, and I'm like, Dilly. Like, don't you realize that I was up and I had already let him out, and then he came back in here because he a good boy and he don't make no noise unless the freaking yeah. So he doesn't make any noise usually during my morning nap sessions. But he heard the big dogs. Oh, okay. On Monday, the Dream Team and I are doing another collab. This time, Stardew Valley. And I was thinking about doing crowd control for it, so you guys can have a blast. Interacting, and I don't know, it might be chaotic. It might crash my stream, to be honest. But, you know. We'll see, because we are trying to find mods. And obviously, my stream doesn't like mods, or at least too many of them, so it crashes. Um, which is annoying because I can play the games with all of my mods. Not
Incoming
live.
ad break.
Oh, Midwestern USA. Oh, I don't know this one. Patient waiting. My mom. Are you streaming? No shit. Who do you think I was talking to when you opened the door? Yum yum yum. Yum yum yum. Oh. Oh yeah, duh. Of course it was Chicago. Anyway, welcome back from the ads. Oh my god. My allergies are really trying to kick my ass right now. Oh, it sucks. I still can't get over the weather here. One day it was 80 degrees, the next day it was freaking snowing. Annoying. Ah, you know what? It is, well, I start like 10 minutes early, so it always throws my time off. It's obviously at the top saying it's been an hour. Down at my other screen, the time is telling me that it's not actually. So I'll actually wait for the right hour before I say my affiliations, obviously. But autoimmune disorders are not fun, guys. Like, I'm currently experiencing really bad cramps. I'm suffering over here. I still want to stream for you guys, but usually when these cramps happen, I'm just completely like hunched over somewhere, heavy breathing, because it hurts a lot. So I know this one technically is not an autoimmune disorder, but I do also have a sensory disorder, which is not fun. That could be linked to my POTS. I'm actually not sure, but it makes human contact very uncomfortable for me at times, especially if it's flaring up. So essentially, whenever I feel like even getting hugged, or my arm poked for a second, or something, it feels like I am being stabbed with one of those fire pokers. You know, the ones that like, well, now we all have like gas fireplaces, but in the olden days, back in my day, um, you used to have to poke the wood. You guys actually have to do it with bonfires and stuff still too. But the thing you use to like poke the wood, essentially, that's what it feels like whenever I get hugged or anything. Because it's my nervous system reacting. So it shoots, like I can feel that pain on my arm or whatever for a day. It shoots a pain, it shoots like a reaction, my nervous system inflamed down my spine. Um, it's not fun at all. Sorry, that's my partner texting me. Um, I'll answer him after stream. It's absolutely not a fun experience, and unfortunately, I feel like that is also flaring up a little bit. So, oh, great, you know? But like sensory disorder, mine as well, like I can't have certain clothes, certain textures because it will throw me off. For the longest time, I couldn't have tags on my clothes because the tags would bother me, so I just would have to pray that I put on my shirt correctly, or I would get shirts that didn't have the tags on them at all, but had the stuff still in it without the tags. My headset's really been shutting off lately, and I've charged it. Might have to get a new headset, which sucks. Oh well. But yeah, I literally charged it. My headset's supposed to last days before I need it to be charged again. At this time, these cases, it's just barely lasting. Anyway, more about autoimmune disorders. Um, so for some people, autoimmune disorders actually impact them so badly to their everyday daily life that they can't do anything at all, which is very upsetting. So for me, mine don't always affect my daily life. Obviously, if I'm in extremely bad flare-ups, mine will then impact my daily life. Most of the time, I can just get around and do what I have to do, or I'll fight through it. But the ones that I'm talking about are ones that it's just impossible for them to be able to. Those are the more serious ones, or even POTS that I have and stuff. It affects them so differently. Like they end up having the fainting ones, and they just basically have to stay at home, or they're nervous to leave the house, which I totally understand when mines are flaring up. I quite literally just don't leave the house because I'm scared. Um, but mine, obviously, I don't have the fainting spells, but
Nice
I
to
do
meet
have the
you.
dizzy
I'm
spells.
Monica.
And that puts me at a high risk of me falling. Actually, it was kind of it's a kind of cute story. What my POTS flared up. I ended up getting like a really bad dizzy spell while I was out with my partner. And he ended up carrying me to like the car. It was super cute. I was like, because obviously, and he knows as well, when the dizzy spells hit, I am a massive risk of falling. I'm already a massive risk of falling because I'm super clumsy, but even worse. Like when my pot flares up at, excuse me, it's a dizzy spell. I do not walk upstairs or even down the stairs because I'm scared that I'll fall. All right, it is the hour mark over here for me. So let's go into our lovely affiliations right here. We will start with waifu wares. I'll play the sound. Doesn't work.
Have you ever wondered
Yes,
why
they work.
Welcome
The
sound
one place has got you
alerts.
covered, from shakers to stickers to t-shirts and hoodies, standees, keychains, desk and mouse mats. What more could you ask for? If you use my code at checkout, you get a nice little discount.
So desk, mats, mouse, mats, obviously at the end there, it cuts off because um the discount is always changing. Let me actually check what it is right now. Anyway, do you want a waifu of your own? Waifu wares. %20 off. Okay. If you use my code, it is 20% off. All of these are listed in the description. Or hopefully they're listed in the description, but also they're listed in my panels. But yeah, so with waifu wares, you get all the waifu collections. So shakers, standees, desk mats, the mouse pads, boobas. And they also have their card game, Waifu Wars. If you're into that, you know, fun stuff. Check them out if you're interested. And then obviously we have coffee, our lovely Atasha over here. I promise I'm not biased or anything.
If you like flavored coffee and anime girls' thick thighs, then Natasha Coffee is the coffee brand for you. Don't forget to use my code at checkout for 5% off your order. Enjoy.
So yeah, if you use my code, you get 5% off your order. Let me actually go to their page real quick because we just released, and I want to make sure I actually get the names right here. All right, so for St. Patrick's Day, we have released English toffee roast, and then we have redesigned our Irish cream. So our Irish cream flavor is sweet cream, chocolate, and vanilla. And then sip happens. Funny, love that. English toffee is caramelized, dark chocolate, and nutty. Both are medium roast. You can also join our coffee club if you're interested in that, where you get coffee deliveries monthly. Um, um, which it it is expensive, and I do want to make it clear, guys, to also keep in mind shipping costs, especially if you're not in the US. Um, because unfortunately the shipping costs are crazy right now internationally. So do just keep that in mind. I'm looking at what's in the coffee club right now. Okay, it is them. So if you go to the coffee club and you're interested in the coffee bundle monthly, right now they do have our St. Patrick's Day flavors. So they have Dublin the Fun, which is the Irish cream or Irish coffee. Yeah, Irish cream, Irish coffee. Oh my god, I can't talk. I'm sorry. It's early. The Irish cream. And then they have Sip Happens, which is obviously our English toffee. You also get a sticker. if you want that. Oh my god, this site's great. Right now they have clovers falling on the screen right now. So if you want that, you can get it monthly, obviously. Every 1 month or every 2 weeks if you want. This is why I say it's beneficial, by the way, because you will get free shipping in the US. If you do this. You get 2 4-ounce curated coffee bags, 1 limited edition sticker, 10% off your orders. You get a special coffee club Discord role if you're in our server. You get special birthday gifts, depending, or I think you do actually just get them. And obviously, all of the coffees are in K-cup options if you want. If you do this for your first month, there's a discount code you can use to get 25% off. But if you don't want to do the coffee club, completely understand. Individually, we have them. I currently been having really good feedback on Lovesick, which is our white chocolate raspberry. If you guys are interested in that. But we also have a variety of different flavors. We have earthy flavors, floral flavors, dessert flavors, all kinds of flavors. Obviously, my favorite is lavender latte. We have San and Tonic, which is our ube flavor, by the way, that got revamped recently. Our lovely mascot is pictured on there, and oh my goodness, she's so pretty. But these names are so interesting, honestly, sometimes. But yes. You will for Coffee Club, discover a new flavor every month. You know, if you're interested in that. If not, totally understandable. Totally get it. Especially if you're not big coffee drinkers. I happen to just love coffee a lot, and I just love Atasha. I am biased, but you know, take it from other customers. But I do love my brew crew over here. So next we have Oshi Buggles, who are releasing new products as well. If you like bath products, Oshi Bubbles is for you.
Do you like bath products? Well, Oshi Bubbles has got you covered. From bath bombs to shower steamers to bath salts. If you use my code at checkout, you get 10% off.
You get bath bombs, shower steamers, or bath salts. They have a variety of different scents. Obviously, we have dessert type scents. We have floral. I think we also have just like relaxing, take me away stuff. If you use my code, you get 10% off. Again, all of these are linked in my panels, and for the folks over on the other site, it should be linked in the description. If it's not, they should be linked on my page because this is the first multi-stream. I hope the description stayed, but I don't know. But I had them linked in my description. If it's not, I'll try to edit it after stream and have them added in there. Okay, moving on. We have advanced now. Focus, energy, hydration, sleep, protein, and a little bit of boost. There you go.
Do you struggle with your focus? Maybe energy, hydration, sleep? Maybe you just want a little protein. Well, Advanced GG has got you covered. If you use my code at checkout, you get a nice 10% discount off your entire order.
You can find something based on whatever goal you want. Mine are hydration and energy. I am very much obsessed with the cotton candy energy flavor and the watermelon swirl hydration flavor. But there's a variety. So, do what you must. And next we have, if I can type it correctly, would be great. Bloodthirsty. A tea brand who's gothic themed actually.
Do you like teas? Well, then Bloodthirsty has got you covered. From hibiscus to Earl Grey to a mix of cherry blossom and green tea to even a mix of chamomile and mint tea, you're bound to find something you like. If you use my code at checkout, you
Incoming
get
ad
10% off
break.
some amazing teas.
Okay. And then obviously I have one that does not have a sound alert because I can't make any more sound alerts for, unfortunately, the brands I'm affiliated with. But next we have No Pink. Other than that, those are the brands I'm associated with currently. If you're interested, go ahead and click in my panels or description if you are interested at all in any of the brands I'm affiliated with. Okay, back to disorders. Anyway, so yeah, currently I'm suffering with really bad stomach pains. We love that for me. But yes, for a lot of people, unfortunately, these autoimmune diseases and disorders can make it extremely hard for them to live their daily life. And I definitely knew when I was having a really bad flare up for like a year that I could not really live my life at all. It was horrible. Couldn't really leave the house, nothing. And then it's even worse because you are at more risk of getting sick. So I'm constantly getting sick. Which is never fun. It's always annoying because because I'm always sick, it just there's times where it feels like I'm just kind of ignored because of it. I always get the "you're always sick" comments, or "you're always tired" comments, and it's like, okay, sorry that those are the two main symptoms I have of my disorders. You know, it's because people don't understand. I think it is really annoying to me that like there's times where I have to cancel shit last minute because I think I'm okay and then I end up not being okay, and it's just like I don't think people understand how upset it makes me to do that as well. Like I feel so bad having to do that stuff, but it's out of my control. You know what I mean? Luckily with you guys, you're a lot more understanding and stuff. Same with the group of friends I have. They're in online. They're completely understandable about it. But it gets annoying for me too because I can't predict when my body's gonna decide that today's the day I decide to flare up. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like I can go all week having a really bad flare up and be like, okay, I feel a little bit better today. Let me do something, and then it flares up again. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I'm supposed to go out today with my partner, and I'm happily debating if I should. Because I can take medicine for what I'm experiencing right now, but I don't know if it will help right now. So I'm like, I love it. I hate it too. To be fair, we didn't like fully make plans yet. Ugh, I hate this. I really do. Like I'm really feeling it now. Anyway, are you sure you guys don't have any questions?
Check out the Pando Pet Cafe to play with me.
Pressure on my stomach here to see if it helps at all. Sometimes it will, which is really weird. Other times, like right now, it's not helping at all. Anyway, yeah, it sucks, guys. Yeah, 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Eh. Anyway. We're gearing up to end here, and well, a bit of, geez, the delay is crazy. Sorry. I'm like trying to talk with him, but it is kind of annoying when he assumed that. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just keeping him updated on what's happening. Yeah, because it's important to do that, but oh my god, I'm actually really suffering. Holy shit. Ow, ow. Alright, gee, I don't know what else to talk about with autoimmune stuff because, you know, there's not a crazy amount of research. But there's not a lot of research for POTS either, which is really annoying. That is so unfortunate that, yeah, there really isn't much. There, I mean,
I'm hungry.
There is, but it's just not. Like, there needs to be more research done.
Welcome, Drazel.
You know what I mean? Because, hello, Drazel. Thank you for the rook. We should really be doing more research into autoimmune stuff because there are so many disorders out there that could be considered an autoimmune disease slash disorder, but it's not even listed or on the list. It's crazy. Oh, I didn't know there was an inner ear disease. That's crazy. God, there are just so fucking many. That's sad, dude. Sorry, I'm looking at what's listed. There definitely needs to be more on here. Wow. Yeah, there really does need to be more on here because there's no way they have, and the thing that annoys me is it has Crohn's listed and IBS is pretty similar to Crohn's, so I don't know why IBS isn't on here. And POTS definitely should be on the list. Like, for the record, when I say, oh, I have autoimmune disorders and I'm listing the ones that are on the list, it's because my care providers have told me that they technically are. They're just not on the list yet. So they can't, like, full on be like, yeah, you have it. But, like, oh my god, my dogs are howling. I don't know what they're howling at, but they're howling at something. They were barking at some shit. Well, then I immediately checked to be like, is it a delivery driver? No. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway. So yeah. So those are autoimmune disorders for you guys. I would definitely tell you to take the time to actually do research into them and look. Maybe you know somebody who has one and you just have no idea. You know? If you actually do research and look into them, it's kind of crazy how many there actually are, and there's just like nobody really talks about them being autoimmune. So it's definitely It's definitely crazy to pull up the list. I pulled up a different list, by the way, not the Wikipedia, but the one for Autoimmune Association or whatever, where they have stuff listed that's not even on the other list yet. So it's actually kind of crazy. It's insane to think about. Okay, sorry. But yeah, no, to think about how there's so many and so at the same time also so very little that aren't listed, but there's so many that are it's just kind of crazy to think about. But I do, yes, highly suggest you do more research. You don't have to actually look into like the articles or stuff. You can watch or listen to videos, podcasts, whatever on it, because I know sometimes reading is not easy. I'm definitely one that needs it read to me for me to grasp the information given to me. So I do highly recommend. I also highly recommend you guys actually looking into POTS disorder so you guys can get an idea as well with what is going on with me because there's not enough research in POTS either. It's, and the reason why POTS doesn't have a lot of research is because it is a fairly new, I mean, it is a few years old now that they realize it exists, but it is still fairly new and not heavily researched. So, and it should be. It truly, it should be way more researched than it actually is. Because, like I said, it's such a fairly new disorder, which is also probably why it's not on the autoimmune disorder website stuff yet. Because it is so fairly new and they're still doing research about it. So I'm sure at some point it might end up on there too. Let's not hit that button. That would have been bad anyway. How we feeling? Is it a lot? I know it's a lot of information. I'm sorry. I just thought it was important for Yap session to talk about it, especially because it is Awareness Month for it. I'm suffering. The cramps are bad. Ugh. So, for the women out there, I was talking about how endometrius is on the list as an autoimmune. I found out through my doctor that endometrius is actually pretty common in people with POTS, which I find crazy. But, oh, so that's lovely. So before anybody asks, no, I don't have endometrius. But it is something that is common with patients that have POTS. So, it's lovely. So, and I do have to say, for the women, I'm sorry, men that are watching, um, if your cycle, the time of the month,
I'm hungry.
doesn't feel or is way more extreme than it should be, for instance, oh, I can't leave the house at all during it, or I can't do anything for 3 days during it because it's fucking awful, get tested. I'm gonna just say it.
Incoming ad break.
Get tested. Go through the tests. Go through, oh, do I have endo? Do I have POCS? Do I have the other version of endo? I can't pronounce that one. You know, menstrual cycle is bad, but it shouldn't cripple you. You know what I mean? And us girls, we stick together. We know it's awful. It sucks every month. It's god awful. But if it is so extreme that you are not leaving your bed the entire time or a few days, maybe it's reducing you to tears. You're suffering so bad that not even medicine, heating pads, etc. work. go to the doctor and ask for tests. Talk about your concern. It's really important because it might be something else going on. In most cases, it's endo, but it could be something else too. It could be the other version of endo. So let me explain to the people who don't know. Us girly pops know. Some men kind of know. Endometrius is where the inner lining of the uterus grows outside the uterus. So I don't have that. But I have the other one. Where my tissue that lines the inside of the uterus grows into the muscle wall. So, yeah, it's fun. Real fun, guys. Real fucking fun. Anyway, the way I say with all utmost importance to, if you feel like your periods, menstrual cycle, or something going on in your day-to-day life is not normal, that I always advertise and advise and stand my ground with going and talking about it with your doctors. I didn't get diagnosed with Lyme's or anything until I was much older, aka the last few years, where I was like, something's wrong and we need answers. Because my entire life I was told, we don't know what's wrong with you. Sorry, they just wouldn't do the tests. They were just like, nah, we don't know what's wrong with you. And I say it now and very proudly to go. And if your doctor keeps refusing, by the way, and says, nah, nothing's wrong with you, find a new doctor. I didn't when I was younger because the doctors I was seeing were family medicine, part of it, and they knew my history and they were focusing on other stuff that was going on at the time. At the time, sorry, so it's not their fault, but do go and get stuff. Labs, blood work, whatever else they may have you do, to get all answers. I know it's not fun, but it is really important. You need to take your health seriously. You know? Oh my god. Sorry. Suffering over here. What is that? I've never heard of that Pokemon before. Interesting. And the reason why I say to like keep going until the doctor's like, oh yeah, we'll get you checked out to figure out what's going on is you'll find a doctor that actually listens eventually. And gives you the answers. You might not get them right away because God knows I didn't. Um, it took a few years for me to get all of the diagnoses that I have, even the most recent ones over the last few years. Again, I say if one doctor is just like, you're fine, nothing's wrong with you, here, take this, go to a different doctor, keep going until you find one, is because you know your body better than anybody else. These doctors may have medical degrees, sure, but you know your body better than anybody else, and you know when something's wrong. If you go to a doctor and you ask for a specific test and they're like, nah, find another doctor. Because, for one, you need a healthcare team that you actually really trust and will, they'll listen to you. But again, like I said before, you know your body better than anybody else. And you know when there's something seriously wrong with it and that you're not making up stuff and you're not crazy. Because there are a lot of doctors out there. Luckily, I've never had them, but there are quite a few stories about doctors making their patients feel like they're crazy because they just kept telling their patients there was never anything wrong with them. And then the patient went to a different doctor, and like that doctor was like, there's something wrong, and did all the labs and got a diagnosis. And the patient's like, my other doctor wouldn't do any of this, and it's crazy to find out just how many doctors don't do the tests or don't listen to their patients because they want to be right or not. They don't want to be proven wrong with their diagnosis already. You know what I mean? Well, they'll make a diagnosis. They're like, yeah, this is what you have. And it's not the right diagnosis. um, so do also get that checked out as well to make sure you weren't misdiagnosed. I was almost diagnosed with ADHD when I was younger. I had epilepsy. It was never ADHD. It was epilepsy, which I don't have anymore, luckily, and I haven't for quite a few years. But back then, um, they just took a child that just had focusing issues and were like, this, try to label me. Went to somebody else, got the test done, and were like, you don't have ADHD. I was like really little, by the way, at this point. I think I was still in elementary school, so I didn't really have a voice of my own yet. Or, well, I do now have a voice of my own. Before, I have severe anxiety, so I don't usually talk during appointments. I also have memory issues, so I can't always remember the timeline. So, but yeah, they tried to label me as ADHD, and my mom was like, no, that's not what she has. And we went somewhere else, and I got diagnosed with epilepsy. So that just shows you that not all your doctors are correct in their diagnoses. Because I know at that time when I was younger, they were just throwing ADHD as a diagnosis on everybody to slap because they never wanted to do any more testing. So it was, you, if you're around my age, um, which I don't talk about often, but I am almost 30. I turned 30 this year. You'll understand what I mean when I say they'll just throw like random diagnoses on you because they don't want to do any other testing. So I will also say it as well. If you feel like you were misdiagnosed with ADHD and you're around my age, you might be. I don't know. Luckily, my mom stopped them from trying to throw that on me, and it turned out to not even be that at all. I wasn't focusing, by the way, guys, because my seizures back then, they looked like daydreams. So nobody knew that I was actually having seizures. They just thought I wasn't concentrating or focusing, which is why they were like, "Oh, you have this disorder." Um, until I think I ended up having I was always having them at school, by the way, and I was always having to call and have my mom come and pick me up. And I would sleep through them at the nurse's office and feel fine and be like, oh, I'm good. And I hadn't been diagnosed yet at this point, so we didn't know what was going on. But funny enough, my seizure symptoms, for me at least, if I wasn't looking at anybody directly, my telltale sign that I was about to have one was my stomach. I would start to feel sick to my stomach, and then I'd have one. If I was looking at you directly or whatever, you'd be able to see me lose focus. You'll be able to see me to start like staring into space. My pupils would get dilated. All that fun stuff. And what's crazy to me too, I remember it happening in 6th grade, and one of my classmates had no idea what the hell was going on. Um, poor guy. Walked in to the classroom. I was unpacking my backpack. I was completely zoned out, unpacking my backpack like normal, while in the middle of having a seizure, by the way. And he came over and snapped his fingers in front of me, and I snapped out of it, and I think he asked if I was okay, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine, blah blah blah, and then he moved on. But that's how I discovered that if I was around somebody having one, that if they snapped their fingers, I would snap out of it. But that day, I think I think was before I was diagnosed. I don't actually remember. But that might have sparked the reason why we actually did research, like went to get diagnosed with it. It was super funny. And then I just went, like, it was crazy to me. It's still crazy to me that I was in the middle of having one. And I was just unpacking my backpack still. Completely zoned out. But was still unpacking my backpack for the day. It's just, it's insane to me. Oh, actually, no, I think I was diagnosed at this point. I don't actually remember. It was crazy to think about, dude. How just somebody snapping their fingers helped me snap out of what was going on. Because they were happening a lot, guys. I'm like, not not completely in elementary school, but once I hit like middle school and high school, I was having them like all the time. I actually missed pretty much both years of middle school because I was having them so frequently, I couldn't go to school. I remember when my friends would get so excited when I was like gone for like months at a time and I would walk into the building. I remember how excited they would get seeing me. That was middle school. Um, it was really cute. That like, oh my God, she's back. Because I walked through the building. I was like, hi guys. Uh, they're like, are you coming back? And I was like, yeah, coming back. And it was always so cute. But yeah, I remember I was on Homebound for all of middle school. I made it about 2 years through high school and then I switched to homeschooling because it was just homeschooling was a safer environment.
I'm
But I did it
hungry.
through like a homeschooling thing and I had tutors come in and help. But yeah, God, I remember how stressful high school was for me. Oh, middle school wasn't even that stressful. I mean, I had like inner drama with friends and stuff and blah blah blah, child drama. But maybe it was a lot worse than I actually remember. I might have blocked out a lot of stuff to be honest. Um it also could have been, oh, you know what it was? At that time I don't think I was on the right medication for it. So um it wasn't stopping them. All right, we are officially at 12 o'clock. That is usually when I end streams. Thank you for being here, both um, on the Purple app and on the other site for the first ever multi-stream. I can't promise that it will work all the time. I'm honestly quite afraid it will completely crash my PC if I do this when it's not just a chat, but we'll see. I can try. Nevertheless, I will see you guys Monday for Stardew with the homies. At least I think it will be Monday. I don't know. We're still figuring out the schedule. Either way, next week will be Stardew with the fam, with the dream team. Um, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Goodbye!